Hi and welcome to my channel. My name is Memo and I mainly draw things for a living. The Artist Starter Plan is a calendar I created to help you start learning how to draw if you're a complete beginner or get back into drawing if you haven't done it for a while. The plan goes from drawing simple lines and shapes in the first week, moving on to portrait, gesture, clothing, and full characters by the end of the 31 days. I recorded this as a series of live streams on Instagram, so unfortunately the format is portrait and there's some level of chit-chat throughout the videos. I hope you can still enjoy it, download the calendar for free, and start your own practice. It doesn't need to be the first day of the month to start, just pick day one and build up from there. Let's get started! Hi everybody! I hope that you had a nice and relaxing Sunday. My Sunday was sort of relaxing, not very much, because our little girl is again sick and she has a little bit of a fever, so I pretty much spent most of my afternoon with her just sleeping on top of me. Hi Anna! Hi everyone! So yeah, that was, well, I got the chance to sleep myself basically, but I don't know, it's weird to see her a little bit sick because normally she's very enthusiastic and instead today she was really like, whoa. Anyway, I hope that your Sunday was free of sickness and, you know, free of fevers and all of that. Hello! Anyway, I wanted to show you guys an illustration I did a year ago, I think. It was probably like 2022, so actually a year and a half ago, and I did it for my Patreon, which I don't run anymore because I have too many other things, but I really enjoy having a Patreon, by the way, and yeah, every month for my patrons I did like a big full illustration and kind of did like a tutorial of how I did it, and so I'm gonna show you the illustration and how I used perspective in this one. So I'm gonna turn around my camera. Okay, there you go. So as you can see, it's over there. I hope that it's clear and you can see it properly. Let me know if it's not big enough. I'm gonna make it a little bit bigger. Oh, that's too much. Okay, I'm sorry. This is probably the amount. Sorry, I think I'm also catching a cold. So as you can see, this illustration is focuses on, like, I basically called it like, you know, witch's first day at school, something like that. So we have, I did it mostly because I wanted to test out some brushes that I had found on the internet, and they were like Studio Ghibli brushes, so I just did this, you know, for fun. So we have the character, the witch character, that is like 3/4 from the back, and she's looking towards this main kind of like garden house, like glass building, and she's like standing on top of a small hill as if like she's gonna come out of like a little forest, and maybe that's where the path goes through to go to this particular building of the witch school. And we have like a couple more characters, which I did, you know, very fast, like they're not particularly well, you know, shaped out. These girls are doing some magic over here, and these other two are like talking before going into class. And it's all very rough, as in like I didn't, you know, you can see also like here my strokes weren't like super, clear, I guess. It was all more like almost like a VizDev piece, to be honest. Of course, the stuff that is like up close is a little bit more shaped out because you want to have more detail and more rendering, you know, with the things that are closer to you. And yeah, the way that the perspective of this piece works is that, and I prepared it here, we have the horizon line over here, and it's, I mean, the way that we did the linear 1-point perspective during our live was that I actually put down like a specific point and then everything kind of like converge to that one point. But in this case, and as you usually do in illustrations, because the field of vision and the horizon is actually much farther away than just like behind this building, so you usually don't put the actual point on the line, but you kind of imagine it that is like much farther back. So all these points go to like areas and on this line, but not all towards one point, because the one point is actually like really, really, really far back, and so you don't get a perspective that is as extreme as you would. And do ask me questions if I'm not making any sense. But yeah, basically I just had these lines that made up my main horizon line and field of vision, and then I added this little hill in the foreground, which meant that the the eye level of the witch wasn't down here, but it was up here because she's on top of this little hill. And yeah, I mean, that was pretty much my setup. I like to have because of like composition reasons, which we may talk about this month, but I don't think we will, because that's a whole other kettle of fish. But I usually like to have focal points of the illustration towards the like if you divided this canvas in like 6. Drawing with my mouse is actually quite hard. I'm not used to it anymore. If you divided it into 6 like this, in 9s actually. Usually I like to have important things going on around these focal points. This is one composition rule that you can have. In this case, we have the witch in the first third and the entrance of the school in the last third. Because while one would think, oh, I'm gonna put the most important character or things that I want people to focus on in the very middle, like, here. Actually, that's kind of like not really done. Like, it's more used to have things in the first third and in the last third, and again, mostly things that converge towards these focal points. Also, you can have another type of composition rule, which is the like golden section, basically, where and this is like a mathematical like rule that I can't explain to you because there's like numbers involved and I don't have brains right now. But basically it's like you kind of converge everything in a circle to bring the eye of the viewer where you want to, and to guide it from the foot, like telling a story. So in this case I also used that, and you start from the witch over here, and then your eye goes like this, you take in everything, and then you go into the school. So that also was the reasoning behind this composition. And the way that this perspective, which is very simple, works is that I also included value. And value is what I was talking about when I was saying, like all the tricks that you can do to fake your way through perspective, basically. So because the perspective here is really simple, and like, this building isn't there's nothing about this building that tells you specifically, oh, it's in perspective. I mean, this building here, yeah, it's like, like it's following the perspective, and here as well. But in general, everything is a little bit faked, and the reason why it works is because of value. Value is basically when you look at something in grayscale. So I just put a an adjustment layer here of black and white on top of my original drawing, and as you can see, the value of this piece is very contrasted, is very clear. So we have in the foreground a lot of dark, you know, like the shrubberies in the foreground are very dark, and the character is like middling gray. And then the more you go out from the little forest bit towards the school, it all gets lighter and lighter. So these kind of like aerial perspective, having things that are very contrasted and very saturated up front, and then things that are very light and very desaturated towards the end of your field of vision, makes it look like the things that are closer to you are, you know, actually closer, and like it makes everything feel more 3D pretty much. So yeah, as you can see, like very clearly with just 3 colors, you know, you have the very far background, the middle ground, and the very foreground. And yeah, that's pretty much all you have to do to work out your value and you know, reach you know, like a semi-working perspective like this one. I hope that it was informative and useful to you to see, you know, this kind of, yeah, basically like how I work with my landscapes. This is just like one of the landscapes that I thought made more sense to show you guys. And I was seeing, like I was checking inside the layers if I still had the sketch for this, but I don't think so. I might have the line work though. Yeah, there you go. So hang on. So just to give you guys an idea, this was the line work. So like I probably did like a sketch that was even like even more rough than this, but then I probably did this very like loose kind of line work, and then on top of that I did that. Yes, like this. So yeah, for illustrations like this, I do just like a very rough kind of line work, because I know that I'm gonna overpaint and render on top of it, so it doesn't make sense to spend ages to do a more precise line work. So yeah, I hope that this was informative, and it's been our, can you share the size of the file? It looks great. Okay, so I think, by the way, I didn't do this in Photoshop, I did this on my iPad, because the brush that I got, the brushes that I was trying to test were a Studio Ghibli set, and they were for Procreate. So this is an RGB, and it's 2487 pixels by 1014 pixels, and the resolution is 132 pixels, which is weird because usually I always work at 300. And the size is 60 megabytes. I don't know, sometimes when I go from Procreate to Photoshop, for some reason the files get shrunk down, and I don't know why, but the grayscale was helpful for you. But yeah, like I think now I'm just resizing the image because that's basically the bare minimum if you might want to print something. 300 dpi is like industry standard usually. I actually, when I work for publishers, usually I work at 400 dpi just to be sure. But yeah, like the most, like I can't remember what I was saying. Yeah, I've been having like trouble when I move stuff from Procreate to Photoshop. I don't know if you guys have noticed this as well. Like if I work in CMYK in Procreate, when I move it to Photoshop, it just looks really saturated and it does weird stuff with my layers. So if you guys have noticed this and have had the same issue, please do let me know, because it's really annoying and I'm trying to find a workaround. But yeah, I'm gonna turn back. Hey guys. So I hope that looking at how I set up intuitive perspective and how I use the value of my illustration to help the feeling of perspective, even if I'm not, using a perspective grid or working it out in a very mathematical way, like geometrical way, is helpful for you. And again, like this is more, this is more, just to give you guys an insight, even though I'm not expecting, especially if you are a beginner, I'm not expecting anything like this from you, especially because in this month in January we're gonna focus just on characters. So starting next week we are going to move on to portraits. Yay! We're gonna start working on the the elements of the face, and yeah, hopefully I'm gonna help you figure out how to draw people and characters. But yeah, I mean, landscapes and full illustrations are an aspect of being an illustrator that I found very challenging at first, because I've always been, and I still am, very character focused. But it's really important when you move from beginner to kind of medium experience to basically figure out how your own workflow to create landscapes and characters together. But that's a problem for another day. Sorry, I'm just reading some comments. Yes, it happens to me too. The sizing in Procreate is very specific, right? So yeah, I don't know why that happens. I think maybe there's some, I don't know. My workaround has been that now I don't work in CMYK in Procreate anymore. I used to, because most publishers require CMYK when you send them the files, but since I have all these problems because most people in publishing will open your file in Photoshop and then they get back to me and they're like, oh, but the illustration is all faded, I don't understand why. I'm like, okay, then I just started back working in RGB in Procreate, and then I send it to myself and I open it in Photoshop, and then I just convert it to CMYK in Photoshop, and then I send that file. That's the only workaround that I've been able to figure out, not to every time have this problem when I send the file to a client. Yes, Martin says, hope you make a video of how to work around CMYK and how to fix the saturation. As I said, basically, I haven't really found a way. I could try and find a better way. This was my solution so far, but again, it kind of assumes that you do have Photoshop on your computer, and you're able to send from your tablet to your computer, which is crazy. Procreate, people, please just work this out, because it makes no sense. Okay, so I will see you guys tomorrow, and we are going to talk about faces and portraits. It's gonna be awesome. I hope that you guys have a wonderful night or rest of your day, and I will see you tomorrow.